her autopsy, yeah. Fell 10 feet after death. And I believe she said fell from the window, then was stabbed. That's wrong! Come on, let's get through it. Stabbing I saw must have occurred after she was pushed out of her window. Nope, not according to the autopsy. Impressive logic, that's what I'd like to say anyway. Oh, please do, my brain is something else, especially in winter. However, I think you are overlooking one thing. Miss Von Karma, would you be so kind as to take another look at the autopsy report? The autopsy report? The victim did fall from a height of 10 feet. However, this fall was after she was killed. Ah! That's right. It says after death right here. The scene the witness claims to have seen is contradictory. If the defendant stabbed and killed the victim there in the courtyard, how did the victim then go on to take a 10-foot fall? Order, order! The victim was killed and then fell. If that is the case, then the victim must have been killed in her room, don't you agree? That is the logical conclusion. Yes, that's right. The victim must have been stabbed by the defendant in her own room, and she was then thrown out of the window down into the courtroom below and stabbed again for reasons I couldn't possibly come up with. Were there any signs of a struggle in Miss Dunham's room? She was stabbed with a sword. That would leave a blood stain, wouldn't you agree? Well, Miss Von Karma, was there any blood? Oh. No traces of blood were found in the victim's room. Your whip has just caused traces of blood to be found in my glorious playoff beard. Whatever with that, man. However, if there was no... What? I'm sure there's no need for me to go over this, as I'm sure Your Honor is well aware, of when a stab wound produces the most blood. When it produces the most blood? Very little blood is actually lost at the moment of a blade's insertion. If you want to talk about when the most blood would be lost from a body, that would be when the blade is removed. Indeed, with the weapon still in place, it acts like a lid on the wound. That's true, with the weapon still in the body, there wouldn't be much bleeding. A perfectly reasonable line of thinking. We have come to a conclusion then. The victim was thrown out of the window with the sword still in place. I don't know. We'll see where this goes. I mean, why would she have this? Why would she have used the Shishi Chito up there? If she's gonna stab her with something, you're gonna get that and bring it up there? That doesn't make any sense. This removes all the contradictions. If you want to go into her room and stab her, why don't you just have a knife? Order, order, order. I must admit that this is a probable version of events. I'd expect no less from Franziska von Karma. She locates and takes control of every vital point. It seems that we need a clearer testimony from the witness. Remove all supposition on your part and tell us only the truth, please. Where'd the crate go? Remain standing on the crate. Hello? Don't go selling me short now. What are you doing? The weight of winter snow has bent me out of shape, especially my back and my mood. Sister, please give us your testimony. I will give you a vigorous massage once we are finished here. With the whip? Oh boy. Alright, alright. I'd like to see that. That'd be kind of strange, Franziska giving her a massage. Yeah. When I looked across at the scene, the sword was already in place. Thinking about it now, I didn't actually see her exactly. That's why I was saying maybe she's trying to pull it out. Which would really probably... I mean... I don't know. I've never seen so much blood before. Well, you guys just said that what causes the blood loss is pulling it out. So maybe that's what I was saying from before, that maybe she's trying to pull it out. Fool. That's when I fainted. You can't blame me, can you? When I awoke, Mystic Ami was stabbing Mystic Elise through the back. Mystic Ami's been the big villain all along. She was mad that they broke her urn twice. That's why she kidnapped Pearl to wherever she is. I guess she's with Maya, right? Von Karma strive for nothing but perfection. Putting together such facts is nothing for me. We have to go check on Adrian, make sure she's okay. Perfection is an impossibility, Franziska von Karma, and I'm here to teach you just that. I don't know what I would present to mention the blood thing. unless I present the Shishi-Cheeto, but I think it'd be better if I just... It's not... I keep saying that. It's not a Shishi-Cheeto. Shi-Chi-Cheeto. There are no Cheetos involved. Yeah. Just press it. You're saying that you saw the victim's blood? That's right. Some of it had splattered onto Iris, too. When the defendant was arrested, she was meditating in her room, and her blood-flecked clothing was neatly folded in the corner. What? Her clothes were blood-flecked as well? That seems quite conclusive to me. What should I do? Press this point further? Do it. It's rare that I see the testimony and immediately know which statement to go for, rather than having to press them all. So, go further. You said that you saw little bleeding when the victim was stabbed, but now you say you saw the victim bleeding. Well, I say what I saw is what I saw. What did you see? Maybe I didn't see the poor woman get stabbed, but I saw the girl pull the sword out of her. Well then, you fucking stupid idiot piece of shit dumbass motherfucker. Why don't you go ahead and maybe go and die? Pulling the sword out? Well, it wasn't exactly pulling. It was more like it came out. The fuck does that mean? Witness, you will add this statement to your testimony. Oh, was that important? More important than you can imagine. It came out. So the instant in which the blade plunged into the hilt was smoothly drawn out. Okay. Smoothly, you say? You're saying you saw the sword smoothly slide out? That's right. The whole thing happened right next to the gold statue of Mystic Ami. Elise was on the ground and Iris was stooped over her. The sword was buried up to the hilt. When Iris stood up, the sword in her hand just slid out of Mystic Elise's body. It slid out from that gaping wound. It goes without saying that if the sword was removed, there would be bleeding. Nothing out of place here. Is that really the case? I can't help but feel that something about this testimony is very out of place. That something which couldn't have possibly have happened appears to have happened. Well, that's clearly the statement that is important, because that's the one that was added, so we're going to presenting. And I guess I'll present the Shishi-Cheeto. I said it again. I guess it's just the fact that it wouldn't smoothly come out due to it being all, you know... Got a bunch of blades all over the place. Probably hurt a lot to pull out. Yeah. Sister Bikini, you are a reliable witness. At least I'd like to think so. But there are too many contradictions here. What do you mean? You make it sound as though I'm a liar. But you're a handsome young man, so I'll forgive you. She is to him what John Armstrong was to me. Interesting. What contradictions are you talking about? In the scene that the witness claims to have seen, the weapon was thrust up to its hilt into the victim. Furthermore, the killer withdrew the weapon smoothly from the body. However, both of these are complete impossibilities. Yeah, there's only blood on the first little bit. What do you mean? Please explain Explain yourself. To start with, do you think it would be possible to stab someone to the hilt with this? No matter how I look at the defendant, she doesn't appear strong enough for that. Doesn't appear? What meaningless dribble. I, too, may appear to be weak and frail. But I can crush men under my heel and make them weep, should I so choose. The objection stands. I wept a little back there, I must admit. That isn't the only issue here. If this sword was truly stabbed into the body up to the hilt, well, just look at all the branches on it. It certainly wouldn't come out smoothly. We also have the problem of the amount of bleeding. It's true that when a blade is left in a body, it acts as a plug of sorts. However, when the weapon is shaped like this, it's an entirely different story. The wound would be too large for the blade to completely stop from bleeding. That's nothing more than conjecture. In reality, the victim was stabbed with the Shishi-Cheeto. Even a weapon of this nature may still sometimes slide out smoothly and may still sometimes stop the blood loss. I'm not finished. There is still one more conclusive contradiction. You still got more? This one is simple. If this sword really was thrust in all the way to the hilt, why is there only blood on the tip of it? Ah. If this witness is telling the truth, then there should be blood along the entire length of the sword. Edgeworth's so cool. Miles Edgeworth, Ace Attorney. Coming summer 2017. I can only hope. Bravo, Miles Edgeworth. Just an alternate universe where he is the attorney and Phoenix is a prosecutor. I'd like to see that. Raising this many contradictions from a single piece of evidence. All the other attorneys I know could maybe manage one, if that. But what does this all mean? You have proven contradictions regarding the murder weapon, but having come this far, there can only be one answer. And that is, the weapon used to kill the victim was not the Shichishito, because it doesn't make sense why you'd bring that to her room and kill her with it. A foolishly foolish idea born from the foolish mind of a foolhardy foolish fool. That was a lot. Let's examine this again. What was it that made us think the sword was the murder weapon? Well, it's because Mr. Kami was holding it. Exactly. However, if you reflect on this, isn't that the only basis we have to assume such a thing? Man, see, look, I've been saying all the same stuff as Edgeworth. Me and him, we're good. I like being Edgeworth. The impression left by the scene was just too strong. That is what influenced us. It influenced us to believe that the Shishito was the murder weapon. Order, order, order. What? So maybe the Shichishito was not the murder weapon? Even if that is the case, it changes nothing. It changes everything, you daft ass. The sister here saw everything. Are you retarded? If that's not the murder weapon, then she'd see fucking jackass shit. But she didn't. Even if that was the murder weapon, she still didn't see her stab her. And then, since it's not the murder weapon, she especially didn't see her. What the fuck are you talking about? It's weird being up against an actual prosecutor. Like with Edgeworth in case 4, you know? I got so used to Godot, and now we got her, and saying all these things that it's like, fuck you, bullshit. Your response, Mr. Edgeworth? Everything you just said is stupid and wrong, and you should be ashamed. I would like the prosecution to answer the obvious question it raises. The obvious question? Yes, namely, where did the real murder weapon disappear to? It goes without saying that the police searched the main hall and the surrounding area. Perhaps the prosecution can enlighten us as to if a sword-like object was found. That's... Answer the question, Miss Von Karma. No evidence of that kind was found. Another mystery to throw onto the pile. A trial without a murder weapon is a tricky beast. Excuse me, could I say something? I just remembered something, actually. What is it, sister? I was just thinking, it's possible that just maybe what actually happened was it was just over there. What? A boot? The murder weapon, I mean. Maybe. I think I might know where the sword was disposed of. You what? You what, mate? Well then. I think we need to hear testimony from you one more time, sister. Impossible. What else? What else could this old woman have seen? I don't know. I saw the murder at around 11 p.m. And after asking that it be reported, I went out to the main gate. And there I saw tracks. Tracks that indicated the snowmobile had been used. It was free from the snow that had been covering it before. It takes 15 minutes to walk to Dusky Bridge, but less than 5, using one of those. Every time we hear this, it's different. Like in, I'm pretty sure they said it was half an hour in case 4. Maybe that was not exactly. But then Maya said 20 minutes, and now she's saying 15. Less than 5 using one of those, though. Maybe they threw the weapon into Eagle River and came back while I was knocked down. Iris could have done that. She can drive a snowmobile after all. Witness, please tell us everything you know right away next time. Well, I'm not in the best of shape. What does that have to do with fucking... What? Quite. There were indeed snowmobile tracks in front of the main gate. Here is a photograph. Okay. A snowmobile, eh? I see. Well, it certainly is an interesting theory. The tracks begin in front of Hazakura Temple and run all the way to Dusky Bridge. What the... I don't know how we're gonna disprove this. That solves your pesky little problem, yes? The Eagle River's current is quite swift, meaning that it doesn't freeze over in winter, making it the perfect place to dispose of the murder weapon. Did she really go to the river to dispose of the murder weapon? Mr. Edgeworth, your cross-examination, please. So yeah, I mean, how do we... We don't know anything about the weapon itself yet, we just have to talk about the snowmobile and how... Oh, let me look at that picture. Alright. Well... I don't know. I'm thinking of something, but I don't want to get ahead of myself yet. Saw the murder at around 11, and she did ask Phoenix to report it. Went out to the main gate. So that you saw tracks then, as if they had already gone off to go throw it away. I don't know, I'm gonna press that, just because. In that case, why didn't you use it yourself? You could have spared yourself some walking. Ah, there's a reason for that. Have we got a moment for me to explain? I think that's why the question was asked in the first place. It was about a month ago. I was driving my beloved little snowmobile, happy as can be. I'd fetched some water and was heading back when I went and crashed into a tree. The tree and my back both went crunch, just like that. Crunch. Crunch. I haven't been able to find the courage to ride anything since then. Anyway, the killer must have used it. Okay. Shit. Threw the weapon into Eagle River and came back while I was knocked out. I mean, would they not have crossed paths with any of us? With Larry or me or anybody else? I'm trying to think of that exact time frame. Iris could have done that. She can drive a snowmobile after all. Okay. Refresh our memory. How long were you knocked out for? Like I said, somewhere between 10 to 20 minutes. It's possible to get to the bridge and back in 10 minutes using the snowmobile. I have to concede that is more than enough time. Is that all you wish to concede, Miles Edgeworth? Well, shit. Well, it would have been impossible, time-wise. One element remains out of place here. Oh, and what would this mystery element be? The killer's reasoning, Your Honor. Why did the killer do all of this? Why go to the Eagle River to dispose of the murder weapon when there are other methods? Too many unanswered questions. Your response, Miss Von Karma. Turning to me for help over the slightest thing. Why don't you think for yourself once in a while, Your Honor? What? She's over the top as always. Anyway, whatever the reason, the fact remains that the defendant could have done this. The murder weapon was disposed of in the river. Another point to me, Miles Edgeworth. Another mystery to feed the fire. Was there any... Excuse me. Any reason to go and throw away the murder weapon? Luckily, there is surely a problem with this testimony. Now all I have to do is start poking holes in this flawed account. Shit! I don't think I pressed that one. As I recall, there was a snowmobile outside the main gate when I visited. That's it, that's the only one we have. It'll run no matter how much snow falls. Now, you're certain the snowmobile was there at the main gate when you arrived? Yes, of course. It was parked in front of the gate. So, she had already gone, discarded the murder weapon, and returned by that time. I'm not sure if this is really relevant. What should I do? I don't know. That one. I need answers to every possible doubt. Was it still warm at the time? Huh? What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean, eh? What do you mean, Miles Edgeworth? I'm playing to a slow crowd here. It goes without saying that using a snowmobile will heat its engine. If it was still warm, then it means it was recently used. Ah, I see. I never thought of that. That's right, I overlooked that too.
Of course you did. Then answer the question, please, witness. I don't often go around touching hot engines. However, now that you mention it, there wasn't any snow on it.
Snow?
Yes, for some reason, only the snowmobile wasn't covered in snow.
There wasn't any snow on it. Curses. Seems highly likely that the killer did use the snowmobile then, eh?
How long does it take to get to Dusky Bridge by snowmobile? Okay.